Flip phones. They're iconic, right? A satisfying snap when you open and close them. Whoops. They defined an entire era of mobile phones. But have you ever wondered where it all started? I mean, who had the genius idea to take a brick phone and, well, flip it in half? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the first ever flip phone, the Motorola MicroTac 9800X. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this. I mean, look at it! Compared to the monsters Motorola was making before this, MicroTac was tiny. It's not exactly small by today's standards, but back then, this was carrying like a feather. Let me grab my scale real quick. Here it is. Okay, so this thing weighs in at 270 grams. Now, to put that into perspective, let me grab what Nokia was selling at the time. Just wait. It's literally 10 times heavier than this. Did Motorola know something that other brands didn't? Because the size difference is enormous. I know that this phone is transportable, meaning it was made for calling from a car. This is why it has that cable and the headset is detachable. But still, all this squeezed into this? Pfft, unbelievable. Now let's just take a closer look at this beauty. First, the flip mechanism. It's literally the thickness of a modern phone. And when you flip it closed, you got this beautiful Motorola logo right here, and this little metal badge. It's subtle, it's classy, and it's got that retro charm. But what really makes this phone stand out are the little details, like the sides. They're made of rubber, not just for looks, but for grip. And here's the thing, no other phone brand was doing this at the time. Motorola really thought about the user experience here. It's a small detail, but it makes a big difference when you're holding it. One interesting thing that was quite rare at the time is that this phone had waterproof keyboard design. Yes, all this is enclosed by rubber, which led me to think, were there any phone brands in the 80s that made waterproof phones? And only one came to mind. Come with me. You might not have heard about this phone, but here it is. Simonson. We can see that everything is sealed with rubber and it has an extra case for carrying, as it weighs a whopping 5 kilograms. But besides that, there's no waterproof phones. I think that's why a lot of the older models come out corroded, and this guy, even at 40 years of age, its insides look flawless. Alright, now let's go back to our flip phone. There was a conspiracy theory going on with this phone's antenna. You see, back in the day, all the mobile phones had antennas and they were necessary for catching signal. But as time went on, a lot of people noticed that this antenna was like fake and not real because, see? It feels like plastic, bends easily, it's all floppy and cheap. Of course, I'm not going to cut it open to see, but antennas should not feel like that. They should be rigid, heavy, strong, like this. But they were wrong. The actual antenna is internal. If you would cut the antenna, you would still have signal, but you would remove the coil that's inside. You wouldn't be able to call. You want me to turn it on, don't you? Well, I still have yet to test it, but my guess would be that it still works. It came with this charger dock, which seems to work. Let's try turning the MicroTac on. Huh. It's been quite some time, and there's nothing. That is weird. Maybe it's the battery? Let's take a look. Okay, so the battery looks fine. It's charged. What the heck? The phone should turn on. Oh, I see. Yeah, my Motorola is missing a battery contact. It should have two contacts, the positive and the negative, like this other MicroTac. Mine has only one. I'm going to try and fix it by soldering a new contact in. Hopefully we'll get this bad boy powered on. Now let's disassemble this thing. Oh no. How ironic. We were literally just talking about the whole waterproof design, how it's so great, and now look at that. look at this corrosion. I think this poor guy took a swim at some point in his life. What did we miss out on? Well, not much, honestly. The screen looked something like this. Pretty basic by today's standards, but for 1989, this was cutting edge. It had a dot matrix display, which was super rare even back then. Most phones had the basic monochrome screens. Oh, and fun fact, this phone operated on the ETACS network. That's basically 1G. The network's long gone, so even if the thing worked, you wouldn't be able to make calls. It's strictly a collector's item now. So there you have it, the Motorola MicroTac 9800X, the phone that started the flip phone revolution. It cost a whopping $3,000, which converted to today's money is about $6.5 grand. Yeah, this wasn't exactly a budget device. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and if you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more retro tech adventures. I'll see you next time.